Hi everyone, this is Darren with Sim Nation. Apologies for not doing a Zero to Hero series in the last week. For those of you not aware, I've actually been pretty sick, trying to get through it. But I'm gonna do a quick video tonight on at least one of the teams because I do feel I owe you that. For those not familiar with Zero to Hero, it is a series that I started where I essentially take a team and draft a sports college football, normally one of the worst teams in the league, and I try to turn them into a playoff team by from the time that the season flips to where I can only do coach hiring, off-season recruiting, which is largely transfers and some other things, and then getting them through training camp in the spring game, and then trying to get them into the playoffs for the following season. So recruiting wise, it's going to be a mess. Stable of Zero to Hero for me is I normally drastically reduce the roster. So you will see a ton of freshmen on this squad, as you can pretty much see. So one of the Zero to Hero teams I'm taking is Hawaii. I've had them before. If you remember the last video, I cut them pretty deeply. Um, so we've gone through recruiting. I meant to do a video on that, but I wasn't able to. And we've also done the spring game. Spring game, I'm not going to talk about much. I'll talk about some basics of how to use that data. But when we look at the team so far, I've already moved people. So up next is training camp. Training camp is the best time to actually change positions in this game. Uh, you want to do it because you have the best chance of influencing a stronger regimen and being able to get them to flip their stats even more. So generally with training camp, there are different things you focus on. If their skill and their intelligence is low, you can focus on that. If their physicality is low, you can focus on that. Um, Generally, if you're changing someone's position and they don't already have skill in that position, meaning more than 40, you're going to want to focus on that as much as you can. As you can see is I don't have really great quarterbacks here at Hawaii. The best one is Gutierrez. I didn't actually recruit him. The CPU did. So he is a pretty good one. He does present me a problem that I'm gonna have to deal with at some point, which is outside of him, I have nobody as an arm. So if I'm going to start throwing the ball long, and he gets hurt, um, I'm pretty much going to have to go to a medium passing game because the next best guy is Ainsworth. And if I remember correctly, Ainsworth, I think, is a transfer from a different school. Yeah, he was at Duke last year, which is one of Stewart's teams. So he's not going to be my starter. It's going to be Gutierrez. I did over recruit running back. The running backs you see here are not the fastest ones because I took all the fastest ones and made them on defense. But what I do have is Briggs, who is going to be a good pounding back, which is kind of what I'm going to need for a change of pace. I'm going to run a lot of draws and a lot of inside running this time as opposed to outside running because I just don't have the speed for it. Fullback wise, they're going to play blocking sets. I'm not going to use fullbacks very often, but when I do, they will block. You can see here, there was a fullback that actually was pretty speedy. I moved him over to cornerback. Tight end, I do have some decent tight ends actually, which is going to be good, which means that they'll be sparse on blocking, but I can get them involved in the passing game, and I'm going to need them to be involved in the passing game. So Rudolph and Farmore, two guys I'm excited about. My wide receiver core is horrible. This is unfortunately normal for me with Zero to Heroes because about when I can recruit. What you're going to see here is I don't really have the right people to be able to do long passing. It's entirely a freshman group. I cut every single wide receiver or move them over to defense. Hawaii's going to be a defensive team, by the way. But I do have Gaines. Gaines is pretty good. So between Gaines and the tight ends, those are going to be my mainstays. When I do want to get the ball into just someone who will catch it, it's going to be Zimmerman. Guard wise, again, I'm going to be hurting on the offensive line. I do have one really good one in McClinton. Again, I didn't recruit him, he was already here. But I'm going to try to run the passing game as much as I can because, as you can see, I'm not really going to be able to run the ball with authority because none of these guys can really run block. On the tackle side, again, same problem's going to develop over here. That's over there. Is I'm going to have to be pass heavy because of the fact I just don't have the offensive line to be able to run the ball. Center, I had to move Dow from where he was over to that, you see, which is the 9 skill, he's going to get a lot of training camp on that skill to try to get him up at least into the 40s so that he's manageable for me. Uh, Gotta hope I don't have to punt very often because my punters aren't very good. Gotta hope I don't have to kick very often because my kickers are not very good. It's going to be short range kicking, and I'm going to have to go for it on fourth or punt inside range because I'm just not going to have really good kickers that can kick very far. My line is extremely weak except for Knudsen, Chang, and Rojas. So those are going to be the guys that probably start with me, but as you can see that Rojas is not a good tackler, and you can tell I moved them from somewhere else because they moved over from the line. In this case, I probably could have kept Knudsen on the line, but I needed him over here because I needed someone who had strength to try to anchor the center. So I'm probably going to run a lot of 3-4. I do actually, excuse me, have very decent defensive ends. So I should be able to do that, at least a starter and some backups. My linebacking core is actually a little bit better than I expected, but it's still going to be pretty horrible. Look for Angolo and Chote to be on the edges and Trent to be in the middle. And then after that, I'm not going to have much depth. You can see here that despite me moving my fastest players over to defense, it still didn't really give me much. But Lewis is going to be the starting cornerback, and then you'll have Collins, and then after that, I'm not going to have much depth. I gotta hope don't go up against speedy opponents. I'm gonna be screwed if I do. Same here, you can tell that I moved Goldberg over. He only has a 10 skill. At least he was on defense. The other ones have been moved from offense. And at free safety, I do have some people I can move around. I may actually move Willis over to strong safety before it's all said and done, but we'll see. The spring game has happened. It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. Um, what you can see here is once spring game plays, you just go to the player, you go to performance, and now you can see the box score. What you see here is that Gutierrez looked really good in the spring game for the most part. Lots of sacks, but the sacks is not an indication of my quarterbacks being bad or my line being great. It's an indication my offensive line is horrible. They're going to get sacked a lot this year, and I'm going to have to worry about that each and every time. Wide receivers actually did much better than I thought they would. But again, is that an indication of how good my wide receivers are, or is that an indication of how bad my defensive backfield is? So Hawaii's probably going to have a long season, by the way. My kicking was a little bit better than I thought it would be. Lemke was actually more consistent than I thought it would be, and that was a good sign. My punting is atrocious, but McKay was actually pretty good. And you can see here that these guys were not as good as I wanted them to be, so it's going to be a long season. But maybe the hope is that I will be able to piece together enough of a defensive line that I can get pressure and try to do that. The good thing is Hawaii's in the Mountain West, so really I only have to worry about a few teams out there. Unfortunately, those few teams are going to probably drive me a little bit crazy because if we look at the Mountain West right now, the team that I'm most worried about is Wyoming. That is VGorilla. Um, but Colorado State, Boise State are going to be the teams I should worry about. TCU and UNLV are the other teams. But if I can get a good shot, I should be okay and be able to move pretty easily through the season. I've got a actually pretty decent schedule. My outer conference is Florida International, who is a passing team that could hurt. Wisconsin, who is not. Massachusetts, who's a cream puff. And Navy. So I actually have a good chance of being able to go 4-0 and out of conference. The good news is I don't get Colorado State and I don't get Boise State. So that helps me in the fact I just have to deal with TCU, UNLV, and Wyoming, uh, which means I could actually be 9-3. I don't think I'm going to be. I think I'm going to be more like 7-5, maybe 8-4 on tops. But we'll see how it goes. One thing just to keep in mind is when you play spring games, one of the things you want to do is make sure that you set your depth chart where you have your backups fully flushed, meaning that everything is covered. And then you want to go to strategy and you want to go to game plan. And you want to make sure the point margin is either set to 1 or 7 because you want your backups to play. Now, if you don't want your backups to play and you just want to practice with your starters, just change that to whatever you normally keep it, which would be 42. When you look at training, and this is going to change in a new version, by the way, you want to make sure that you have different schedules for different things. Um, Generally speaking, if you're not sure what things do, go over hill. Positional drills really focuses on the skill at your position. That'll be important for anybody I'm moving. Athletic training is speed and agility. Physical is strength and endurance. Game tape, of course, is intelligence. Now, positional drills will also focus on things like that are part of uh, what that position does well. So, like quarterbacks would be arm accuracy, intelligence. Arm and accuracy, sorry, intelligence is its own. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Don't ever go over 22 unless they have the endurance or the work ethic above 90. If they have that, you can do it, but make sure after training camp you change it back because you'll fatigue them. Anyone less than 90, you're running the risk of fatigue and you could lose them for 3 to 4 weeks in the season. So that's it for now. Hopefully you find this video useful. And if you do, drop a like and subscribe. Definitely will do the other teams as soon as I feel up to it. So thank you and have a great night.